We are live here with the Rabbi and the Meyer, little hiatus, but we're back ready to talk some football on this Monday afternoon. Hey, Ben, how you doing today? You good?
I'm good. I'm just exhausted. Oh my gosh.
Why are you so
Watching
tired?
so many games from this weekend. Like, I don't know, like 7 games. It's just really exhausting. Turns one into sort of a zombie, but it's for a good cause.
And the good news is there were 7 over the weekend, and we got a double header. In 10 minutes, we get Monday afternoon football, MAF. I'm
Oh my
getting
gosh.
the cold one here. I'm here at the office, but I got my phone, Verizon app. I'm going to be watching them Chiefs. We'll watch Tyreek Hill get me 11 points, put me over the top for my fantasy matchup against my own son.
Absolutely. It's like football overload, but it's like have to endure and take it in anyway because this is such a big game. And this has incredible implications for your matchup with you and Avrami.
That's right. You're not kidding. But before we get more into that, I wanted to it's interesting when you think about the impact of COVID that it's had on football. Last week, we saw WNF, Wednesday night football. Right? Usually I'm depressed on Wednesday nights because that's one of the 2 nights of the week that there's not football. Right? Friday night, I don't count. That's Shabbos. Saturday night, don't count. But that's really about it, right? It's those 2 nights. Those are the 2 nights you don't get football. But this past week, we had football Wednesday night, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And it's only due to the pandemic, all this weird scheduling stuff. What are your thoughts about Wednesday night football?
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday nights are really tough, just waiting for the time to go by. I mean, we do have all the games from the past to go over, but there's still that drought of live football. There's nothing quite like the live game. And yeah, it was nice to have that now. It was instead of Thursday night, so Thursday night essentially became Wednesday. But yeah, that was kind of nice.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I'll tell you something also interesting. Me as a Sabbath observant Jew was kind of cool because I figured that I was just going to have to miss the Patriots game. Patriots Broncos. It was on the second day of Yontif on Simchas Torah. I was going to be dancing socially distanced with the Torah on Simchas Torah while the Broncos were facing off. I was going to have to resist the urge to step outside my shul and go peek at Park Burger at the score on Yontif. I'm going to have to resist that urge. And I was planning on resisting that urge. And then I found out, sure enough, the good Lord took care of me. The good Lord went ahead and he just pushed the game off to this Sunday where I could partake and watch that game. So it's interesting sometimes how things work out, but I was quite pleased with that development. I know the Broncos were not happy. The Broncos, that was their bye week. They had to practice all week. But me, I was happy. And, Ben, it's interesting because the Talmud tells us, Bishvili nivra ha'olam. The world is created for me. It means for you, the mayor, and for me, the rabbi, the world is created. And I felt like that. I felt like despite all the Broncos, discontent with the bye week, that wasn't. I think it was all for me, for this fan here, that I could partake of that game. Yeah, that's my.
Agreed. And it's very interesting how Hashem made it happen. He used coronavirus of all things. Originally, I thought it was the Broncos' strategy because, going into their game against the Patriots, they were huge underdogs. And originally, it seemed like a strategy that, as the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, give them coronavirus. And that's exactly what they did to the Patriots' 2 best players, their quarterback Cam Newton and their last year's defensive player of the year, Stephon Gilmore. Those exact 2 people came down with coronavirus, or at least tested positive or something to that effect. And I thought it was the Broncos doing. I was like, well played, Broncos. But then it got postponed. It worked too well. It got other people on the teams infected, and then they postponed it more. And then Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore came back.
And we still beat them. I'll tell you, that's a good point that you say you can't beat them, give them coronavirus. I think that was Stephon Gilmore's strategy with the Chiefs. I don't know if you saw, but he kind of went up for a close, intimate, non-social distance hug with none other than the great Patrick Mahomes. And thank God Mahomes ended up not getting it. But it seems like that strategy is being utilized. So it's an interesting point that you make. I do agree.
Yes. So, but you're right. If it wasn't the Broncos, then it was the big guy, and using it for good to make it so it's because kickoff doesn't wait for anyone unless something like this happens where the big guy intervenes and then postpones it.
And unless it's for the Patriots, right? They really should have forfeited, but whatever, it's the Patriots. But we still beat them. So this is the first time Bill Belichick this is, I think, the first time the Broncos won in New England since 2006, I believe. It might have helped that there were no fans rooting against them and screaming, their ears off. But it's also the first time, maybe in like about 15, 16 years, that the Patriots have a losing record in the month of October. And the fact that came about by the hands of the Broncos, that's nice. That's good. That's a good thing. So
that is a good thing. And they are now on a 2-game winning streak. My goodness, we have to admit, Danny, we were wrong about the Broncos versus the Jets game. We predicted that would be quite the non-barn burner of a game, and it actually turned out to be a halfway decent game. And it turns out we were really talking about yesterday's game against the Patriots.
Right.
That was, oh gosh, Danny, I can't watch. That game was unwatchable. Don't make me watch any more Broncos games, Dan.
I will confess, thank God I had to miss actually the first 3 quarters, and I only caught the fourth. And when I saw them go deep, when we're winning the game, we have a 100-yard rusher in Phillip Lindsay, and then you just throw the ball deep. I literally almost started crying. And I was going to send in my application to become the offensive coordinator for the Broncos, because I might not know a lot, but you don't go ahead and throw deep when you need to run the clock out and you have a great running back in Phillip Lindsay. I just don't understand. And it was painful. I did want to correct you, though, Ben. You said we were very wrong on the Jets game. Now, you were a little bit more wrong than I was. I don't know if you realize this. You predicted, I think, we could go back to the film. We have this, thank God, Rabbi and Meyer on tape, so the hundreds of viewers can catch it later. But I think did you predict a Jets win? I don't remember, actually. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought you predicted a Jets win and I predicted a Bronco win. Maybe I'm wrong.
I just predicted a lot of punting in an all-out, really unwatchable game.
Yeah, and the Broncos scored more points in that game than they did in like the last 5 years. We were both wrong. I agree with you there. Okay, after this, we're going to go ahead and go back to the film and see what we ended up predicting. If any of you guys remember, on of our many, many, many watchers out there, if you recall what we predicted 2 weeks ago, the winner of that Jets-Broncos game, please let us know, because our memory is failing us. As we are now aging, the memory is not quite what it used to be.
Right. But you're right. I believe you did predict the Broncos victory, but we both predicted it wouldn't be a good game, and it turned out it was a good game. We were really predicting the Patriots game yesterday, and It just, let this be a lesson, to our many viewers that, you may feel that we know a lot and are infallible, but the fact of the matter is there's a very small percentage of the time, I don't know, 5%, where sometimes we're not correct, and maybe that Jets game fell into that exception category. But no, that Patriots game yesterday, oh gosh, there were 8 field goals in the game were made yesterday.
Yeah.
1 touchdown. Oh gosh. It was.
Listen, in the 15 minutes I watched it, it was almost unwatchable. I literally almost started taking out my sukkah instead of watching the end.
Yeah. Do you declare a ban on watching any more Broncos games, or will you allow it going forward?
I will allow it, because I heard, again, I didn't see the film yet. I heard that there were egregious drops by the receivers, and Locke legit played a decent game. So we're going to go ahead and avoid the ban for now. The Broncos are still alive. They're still kicking. They're still in it. If we go shock the world next week in Kansas City or against Kansas City, there's what to talk about. So we're going to hold off on a Bronco ban for now. I am thinking about creating guidelines for how many can watch the Broncos safely. But for now, we're going to avoid the Bronco lockdown, and we're just going to keep allowing Bronco watching for now.
I'll spread the word. I preliminarily gave a ban to all my followers, but I will tell them to stay the ban and on Broncos games for
Hold
at least
for now.
one more game. But they are playing the Chiefs next Sunday, and the Chiefs are playing now. So maybe at the beginning Rami, this was his first season playing, right? And you asked me to give him some advice, and now I feel it's only right that, considering that in our league he is, compared to us, wiping the floor with us.
He has about 200 more points than both of us, and he sits in second place, whereas you and I, not so much.
Right. Sounds like.
I want to comment, by the way. I want to thank Brad, who's with us right here. Thank you, Brad. Put you up there. He was up there too, and then I just got my first win and wiped the floor with him last week. So thank you for that. I will also comment, whereas, and this is the dilemma. I'm curious your feedback.
Right.
I'm playing my son, who's in second place. Now, he's kind of a rookie. He's prone to rookie mistakes, and he asked me for some feedback approaching our game this week, because he has a lot of buys, a lot of guys on buy. He has the whole New Orleans Saints team, and asked me for some advice. His plan was just to leave his guys on the bench. To leave them in and kind of just punt this one. Let me win this one. Because what can you do? His guys are on the bench. Now, little did he know that in fantasy football, when you have your guys on a bye, just go ahead and pick up other guys and start them. But he didn't realize that's a thing. So what would you do, Ben? Your little dude is just asking, he's just kind of giving up. Do you just let him give up and just destroy him? Or do you give him a little feedback, a little advice for how to approach what to do when all you guys have a bye week?
Oh, I think you have to take the opportunity to defeat him while possible, because he's wiping the floor with both of us. He should be giving us advice, and it's good that he did not listen to any semblance of or any advice I may have given. So good. So the answer from me is, if they're on a bye, drop them. Yes, drop them. Including next week, I play of Rummy, and the Baltimore Ravens are on a bye. And of Rummy, you took the Baltimore Ravens defense from me. You drafted them right before I was going to. They're mine. Give them to me. Give them to me. Drop them before the bye week next week. Give them to me.
And I will comment. I was highly critical of that pick of his. The 7th round or whatever it was. I figure you get defenses in the end. But he's sitting here with one of the most elite defenses. They're racking up crazy amount of points every week, and he's sitting in second place laughing at everyone else. So give the guy credit. Now, with that said, Avrami and I are facing off as we speak, and this is intense. This is why I'm literally about to just call it a day here in the office and just tune in, because I sit 11 points behind right now in our matchup. He is beating me. I have Tyreek Hill. He's got nobody. I need my man Tyreek to score me some touchdowns, and I will defeat him, and I will laugh at him, and I will just gloat openly over him, over me beating my 11-year-old son in fantasy football who's playing for the first time in his life. I will feel great.
I approve of that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I want to shake his confidence before his face-off against the Baltimore Ravens next week. Now, we're almost out of time. The game is about to start any moment if it hasn't already. So I want to just end off my last thoughts, then we'll predict the two games today. My last thoughts for today are that it's interesting because if we look currently at our fantasy football standings, right? So I am sitting in all but last place. I'm in 11th out of 12th place. And Ben, You're doing a lot better than me, actually. You're not a lot. You're ninth place, okay? I'm sitting in 11th place. I got 495 points. Ben, you have 437 points. I'm 1-4. You're 2-3. My 495 are only 4 points less than Brandon, who's sitting in 5th place at 3-2. And it is only 5 measly points behind Brad. Behind Brad right here. Brad, I'm 5 points behind you. Brad, my friend, you are in 3rd place at 4-1. I'm in 9th place at 1-4. 5 lousy points separates us. I could sit here and I could pout and I could cry and I could be all upset and I can throw a fit and I can complain how life is not fair. But I'm not going to do that because that's what fantasy football teaches us. Sometimes in life, things don't seem to add up. Things don't seem to appear like right. Like I'm sitting here 5 points behind Brad, and yet, he's in 3rd place. I'm in 11th place. 5 points. Okay, that's what fantasy football teaches us. You got to go with the punches. You got to roll with the punches, and you got to just carry on. You got to set your lineup. You got to do everything you can to get that W, that next win. That's all that you can do. That's all you can focus on. That's my closing thought.
Yeah, I think the lesson is that fantasy football is crazy and unpredictable and just depends on who you just happen to be facing that particular week. I mean, I had a crazy, last weekend, I did the math wrong. I saw what a lead I had going into the game, and I thought I had a 34-point lead. It all turns out I only had a 24-point lead, but but then who I was facing scored 27 points in that Tuesday night game. And I think I'm celebrating. I'm thinking that's less than 34. I win. And then I log on and then I realize I did the math wrong. And I realized, just a gut punch that I actually lost. But it was a loss after celebrating in my mind that I had won. That's a real tough loss. And here's the crazy thing is that it was one of those things where if I started Ryan Fitzmagic instead of Lamar Jackson, I get the win, and then I'm talking to you, and then I'm in 5th place right now instead of 9th.
There you go. There you go. And as you said, fantasy football, it's wild and crazy and unpredictable, which basically is like our life right now. You just don't know what's going to be from one day to the next, and that's why fantasy football at its core is basically just a paradigm for our very lives. With that, let us go into our prediction for tonight's double header. Again, we have to clarify what our record is. You versus me, I believe I'm winning, but we can go back to the film for that. Ben, we got this first game right now, Kansas City at Buffalo. Who you got? And what's the score?
Well, I'm going to just say one thing first. If Brad, this is Brad of Brad's boss's team, who I'm playing this weekend, right? If you're okay, you're listening. So my one message to you going into tonight's game is bench Ezekiel Elliott. You will bench Ezekiel Elliott and the Cardinals defense. You'll do that right now.
You should do that because of the new quarterback. They're going to be throwing all game, and Zeke's not going to do nothing. So that would be the good move.
Right. Just bench him. Just bench him right now. Yeah.
So what score you got?
All right. For the Buffalo-Kansas City game, you don't generally root against Kansas City nowadays. So I'm going to go KC 38, KC 38-24 over Buffalo.
Okay. I agree that KC unfortunately will win this game despite the great Josh Allen should have been a Denver Bronco. I am going to go ahead and go with Kansas City as well. And I'm going to give them – I feel like they're going to be scoring – oh, no. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
You're here? Okay. Wow. My computer gave me a phone call. It's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and predict Kansas City is going to get 31. And Buffalo, behind the mighty Josh Allen, is going to be at 27. 31-27 Kansas City. What do you got, Arizona, Dallas, without Dak Prescott? Who's winning that game?
Ooh, that's going to be a challenge for Dallas without Dak. But Andy Dalton, I think, is probably one of the better backups in the league, and he was a starter up until this season. So I think it's going to be actually closer than many are predicting. I still think Cardinals are going to pull out the win, but I think it's going to be much closer. So maybe something like 27-24 Cardinals.
Okay. We got 31-24 Dallas, I think, behind Andy Dalton. They're going to play inspired. They're going to play pumped up for Dak. And Zeke's going to have a major game to cause you to lose, Ben. And Dallas is winning.
Bite your tongue.
I hate to say it. Anyways, so we'll call it. We'll call it right there. Thank you. Go tune in. It is now about 13 minutes left or so in the first quarter. Didn't miss too much tuning in with us. And God willing, we'll see you next week. Have a lovely, lovely week, and see you soon.